For months at a time, Vikings disappeared into the ocean. No land, no cities, no communication, just freezing wind, dark water, and the same small group of men trapped together on a wooden ship. And the strangest part is, many of them never came back. Modern humans are terrified of loneliness, but most modern loneliness happens with phones, music, internet, and millions of people nearby. Vikings experienced something far worse, true isolation, the kind that changes the human mind. Because over 1,000 years ago, Viking ships crossed some of the most dangerous waters on Earth. They sailed through freezing storms, massive waves, and endless empty oceans with no maps, no engines, and no guarantee they would ever see home again. And during these voyages, loneliness became a serious psychological problem. The question is, how did Vikings deal with it? Modern humans imagine Vikings as fearless monsters who loved violence and adventure. But real Viking life was much harsher and more emotionally brutal than movies usually show. Most Vikings were not constantly fighting. Most were ordinary humans forced into extreme conditions, and Viking ships were miserable places to live. A typical longship was narrow, cramped, cold, and exposed directly to the weather. There were no private rooms, no comfortable beds, no bathrooms. Men slept side by side beneath wet animal skins, while freezing ocean winds hit them constantly. During storms, waves could slam directly into the ship for hours, sometimes days, and unlike modern sailors, Vikings had almost no protection from the environment. Everything became wet. Your clothes, your food, your body. The ocean slowly entered every part of your life. But the physical suffering was only part of the problem. The real danger was psychological, because humans are not designed for isolation at sea. Even today, sailors, submarine crews, and astronauts experience serious mental stress when separated from normal human life for long periods. And Vikings faced this without modern understanding of psychology. Imagine staring at nothing but dark water for weeks. No internet, no entertainment, no family, no certainty, just endless ocean, and in many cases, fear. Because the Vikings understood something modern humans rarely experience. Nature can kill you at any moment. A sudden storm could flip a ship. Ice could trap you. One navigation mistake could leave you stranded forever. At sea, Vikings had almost no control over their survival, and humans hate losing control. So Vikings developed ways to fight loneliness and fear long before modern psychology existed. The first was storytelling. Vikings told stories constantly about gods, about monsters, about famous warriors, about revenge, betrayal, and death. In a world with no screens, stories became emotional survival tools. At night, crews gathered together while waves crashed outside the ship, listening to tales about Odin, Thor, and Ragnarok, the Viking apocalypse where even the gods eventually die. These stories did more than entertain people. They gave suffering meaning, and humans can survive extreme hardship if they believe it means something. Modern psychologists discovered this repeatedly in prisoners, soldiers, and survival situations. Meaning reduces suffering. The Vikings understood this instinctively. And then there was music. Archaeologists discovered evidence of Viking instruments like flutes and lyres across Scandinavia. Some historians believe Vikings sang together while rowing for long distances, not just for rhythm, for connection, because singing synchronizes human emotions. Even today, humans naturally feel emotionally closer after singing together. Your brain releases chemicals that strengthen social bonding. The Vikings didn't know neuroscience, but they knew humans suffer less together. And here's something most people never think about. Viking ships were emotionally intense environments. The same small group of men ate together, fought together, nearly drowned together, and depended on each other for survival every single day. This created extremely strong social bonds. In many ways, Viking crews functioned more like families than military units, because at sea, trust becomes everything. A selfish person endangered everyone. A coward endangered everyone. A weak rower exhausted everyone. On a Viking ship, your survival literally depended on the people beside you. And this changed relationships deeply. Modern loneliness often comes from emotional distance despite physical comfort. Vikings experienced the opposite, extreme physical hardship, but constant human connection. Nobody was truly alone. And yet loneliness still existed. Because Vikings missed home, they missed wives, children, families, familiar land. Some voyages lasted months or years. Many Vikings died abroad without ever seeing their homes again. Think about how psychologically terrifying that is. Modern humans can instantly contact loved ones from almost anywhere on Earth. Vikings could disappear into the ocean completely, and once land vanished behind the horizon, there was no going back easily. Some historians believe this is partly why Vikings became obsessed with reputation and legacy. If death could happen any time, your name became the only thing that survived you. This idea appears constantly in Viking culture. A coward dies forgotten. A brave man lives forever in stories. To Vikings, being remembered defeated death itself, and maybe that's why they endured loneliness so well, because they believed suffering had purpose. Today, modern humans spend enormous energy avoiding discomfort, silence, and boredom. Vikings had no choice. They sat inside silence for weeks, listened to waves for months, faced storms knowing nature did not care whether they survived, and over time, that isolation shaped them psychologically. It made them emotionally harder, more dependent on tribe and crew, more obsessed with loyalty and reputation. But here's the strange part. Even after 1,000 years, your brain still reacts to loneliness the same way Viking brains did. Humans still need connection, still fear isolation, still suffer when separated from meaningful social bonds, because biologically, you are not that different from them. Your ancestors survived ice, storms, starvation, and endless oceans not because they eliminated loneliness, but because they faced it together. And somewhere in the freezing North Atlantic 1,000 years ago, a Viking sat alone at the edge of a wooden ship staring into endless dark water, wondering if he would ever see home again.